If I could only remember one thing, it would be the mission trip that I went on the summer before ninth grade, and I got to meet a lot of people with interesting lives, and it just made a huge impact on my life.
If I could only ever remember one memory, it would be the second date with my wife walking on the beach in Charleston, holding hands.
If I can only remember one memory, it would be when I graduated college.
If I could only remember one thing, I'd want to remember when I did a mission trip in Mexico a couple years ago.
If I could only remember one thing, it would be June 29th, 2011, because that was the day that I truly accepted God into my heart.
It would be the birth of my daughter.
Giving birth to my first son.
It would be the day my son was born because it was the best day of our marriage and of our life.
I would want to remember my 18th birthday because I spent it with all my friends and family.
If I could remember only one thing, it would be when I got baptized.
If I could only remember one thing, it would be visiting my family in California over Christmas.
My grandson's first professional AA home run 2 nights ago.
If I could only remember one thing, it would be the first time I went to the beach with my family.
If I could only remember one thing, I would want to remember the third time that Fort Mill won region champs for cheerleading.
If I could only remember one thing, I'd want to remember bringing home my baby brother for the first time.
If I could only remember one memory, it would probably have to be being in the middle of the Caribbean Ocean, snorkeling underwater, and getting to witness one of the world's greatest and most beautiful habitats underwater.
If I could only remember one thing, it would be a vacation with my 3 children and my wife just a couple of years ago to Florida.
Going to college at UNC because it encompasses a lot of different memories over 4 years.
If I could remember only one thing, I would remember the last words my grandma said to me before she died, because she was a big influence in my life, and she was great, and she was so wise, and she just taught me a lot of life lessons that I carry with me today.
If I could remember just one memory, I'd have to say it was the day I met my wife when she walked into the office where we were working, and it was like, wow. If I could replay that over and over again, it would be phenomenal.
If I could remember one memory, it would be the day my younger sister came home.
If I could only ever remember one thing, I would want to remember all the visits with my best friend who I've known for like 10 years, and we get to see each other every summer, and it's really fun, so yeah.
If I could only remember one thing in my life, it would probably be going out on a tour of the West with my family. Went on vacation to like the Grand Canyon and like Nevada and Zion National Park, and that was probably one of the greatest experiences I've had up until this point.
If I could remember one thing, I would want to remember Spirit Week of junior year because it's a lot of fun.
If I can only ever remember one thing, it would have to be July 10th, 2013, the last time I got to see one of my best friends from ever since I was in kindergarten.
If I could only remember one thing, it would be my hometown of Beaver, Pennsylvania, because I just have like so many friends and good memories from there.
When me and all of my boys were huddled up in our family room together and read the last chapter of the last Harry Potter book.
If I could only ever remember one thing, it would be when I helped out critically ill girls get ready for prom, and the one girl that I got really close to won prom queen, and that meant a lot to me.
If all my memories were erased, I can only remember one thing. I would want to keep the memory of Akron, Ohio in my freshman year because it was just amazing.
If I could only remember one thing, it'd probably be how to cook because I like to eat.
If I could only remember one memory, it would definitely be when my mom and dad were together on my 13th birthday because they recently got divorced, but for my birthday they were able to get along, and it was just a really happy day. We went out to dinner and we were at the beach.
If I could only remember one thing, it would be my address so I could find my mom.
If I could only remember one thing, it would be the day that I met my wife. If I think about that, it would have to be that because since then, everything else is because of that one event. So without that one event, then anything else that is anything of significance to me would not be. So the most important memory I need to remember is the day that I met my wife.
I only remember one thing in my memory. It would probably be the one time I went putt-putting with my grandpa, and it's just because he died when I was really young, and so that memory is really important to me because it's the only one I really have of him.
If I can only remember one memory, it would be, it's on YouTube. I saw this video about what's your passion. It's a 15-minute video about going after your goals, chasing your dreams, working for yourself, having all the vacation time you want to.
I could have only one memory. It would be whenever I go to Costa Rica and see my family that I don't see very often, so I'd like to keep those memories.
If I could remember one thing, it would definitely be going to the beach house with my family and having a great time.